Thank you to Coach Bandstra for having me. I've almost watched getting close to all of his events, program development, and so I'm hoping I can come on here and just give some type of a nugget of anybody that's listening that they can apply. Thanks again, Coach Bandstra. So I'm about to begin my 9th year as a head coach, 13th year as a coach, and just got to Green Hope last May. Took over program, and obviously we didn't do as well as I would like. First time 12 years not making playoffs, but we're going to fix that this year. And one of my topic that I'm trying to cover this afternoon is how to steal yards from defense using unbalanced and different type of formations. And one of the reasons I got into this is I really wanted to add that to our repertoire because we run the power rate, a branch off the air rate, and focus a little bit more on running because I do like to run the ball as much as through formations and going unbalanced. And we toyed around a lot with it at Northwood for the 23-24 season. Our quarterback would get nice light boxes, and there for a while he was a top 10 when it came to scoring and rushing yards as a quarterback. So he was our dude, and we had a guy that went to NC State and how to find ways to get them touches. And so one of the first ways that I'll talk about it is we call it diamond, and we can do diamond a bunch of different ways. We can isolate a receiver one-on-one. But one of the things that we'll do is it can either be a sugar huddle where, we tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do when we come out first play of the drive, or it could be a one-word call. So how we set that up is here we'll call diamond, and we'll call smoke screen to whatever receiver we want. Over here we can tag it. And what it does is it's going to get 3 blockers, and then we're going to release our right for a playmaker. So if you put your running back out there, it's just like a running play. So what we're going to do is he's going to get whoever is pressing it. He's going to get most dangerous man inside, most dangerous man outside. And what our linemen are told to do is that we are getting flat, sidewalk, all right, and then he's going to the next level and looking for anybody. And then these 3 are protecting the center. Well, then eventually we tell him to go and clean it up, almost like the touchdown block on book sweep, and these 2 are blocking the backside of the quarterback, obviously. And so what we're doing is we're just getting a quick little smoke screen out of there, and we'll dial it up and do a bunch of other things. But we've done one-word call, sugar huddles out of this, and so now you're getting a 4x1 going empty. So now with the defenses, it's a bunch. We'll go formation to the boundary, and you're also getting an empty look. And so you kind of see what the defense is willing to do, especially if you go formation to the boundary. Are they willing to give all 4 guys over there? And you'll get a lot of timeouts. You'll get some frustration. And as soon as they do, we'll go with a slant. And I have film for all of this. We'll go with a fade. All right, we can go speed out, and then we can go a hitch. All right, and then if we don't like that, and they're covering 2 over 1, and they're taking numbers over here, we get a light box. And now you can talk about all different things with the quarterback run. We've done, QGT. We've done Q-dart, Q-gut, which is a 5-man power, but it's the guard pulling for the backer and our offense line basing. And then we've also, where we've come up and we've done a quarterback sneak. So there's a bunch of different things you can do, and then you can window dress it with the running back or the X in our carries right here going in motion, all that good stuff. So this is one of our formations I have filmed. Like I said, I'm going to try and get through all the different formations that we've used, and then I'll get into some film. So after that, now, if say that you don't want to go unbalanced, or say that you want to go unbalanced and not go completely empty, all right, here's one for you. So now what we're getting into is it's the same look, but now we're going unbalanced. We still have, depending on if we want to run a bubble, we want to run a smoke screen, and we've even ran a tunnel, because now with our running back, the way that we run our tunnel, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, is we run it just like USC, and I think a lot of people where you'll fake GT, and then you'll hit it backside. So now you have 3 different ways of running your screens. All right, you already have one guy that's going to block, and now you're going to see is the defense going to remember, and do they have their rules about being unbalanced? And one of the reasons why this is also a great formation is you put it into the boundary, and then you're going to see what does the defense give you out here to the perimeter, and then you can dress it up and do a bunch of different things. And then you can motion a guy into the box. So if you didn't want to go empty and you wanted to be able to do the same type of look you just got, now you can go smoke screen to this guy right here, and now you got 3 lead blockers and kind of a fake little ride with the running back, but you have the numbers out there. Or if they give you a 4 or 5 guys out there to take that away, now you have quarterback run game opposite. You have the run. You can do any type of run that you want, depending on what you have in your schematically. So this is one that is now out of going from a diamond going out of an empty and now a quads look with a bunch tag. You guys see what the defense is going to do. Now you go unbalanced. All right, and you're going to have to see how they handle. Are they going to give you a box? Because if they give you a 5-man box, all right, now you got numbers for a quarterback game, run game, and even numbers in a running back if you're reading somebody at like an end or the next level. It gives you a bunch of different options. You got 2 guys that now can go in motion, a bunch of different ways to dial it up. Like I said, is we've done sugar huddle, we've done one. H is going to be kind of our tight end hybrid, and now what we'll do is we'll call this formation. We call it cluster in the past, but now what the best part is you have these 2 on the ball, and now we can either have cluster slot or cluster triangle, different ways to call it. And now what you got is you can move this guy all around, all right, and you still have unbalanced, and you can tag him to be a wing, a sniffer. And then one thing that we've also experimented with is now he hops off, all right, and now you can do a bunch of different ways of creating a trips look or a bunch look, all right, and he's just nothing but a lead blocker. So now you can throw a bunch of different screens out there because let's be honest, a lot of times a lot of us offense coordinators, when we go with unbalanced, and one of them is always like a smoke screen or a fast bubble screen. So here's another way that we'll go unbalanced. And now we're just putting him on the ball, sets up your RPO game. You get numbers in the box. So we're pretty excited about, working with a lot of unbalanced formations out of that. And then now kind of going into some other things that we'll do when it comes to empty calls. So we'll have our running back now go out, and we can either put a tight end or another one of our H backs. All right, and now we're setting up, and I got this. I love getting this from the gun T guys like Kenny Simpson. And now what you're doing is now you're running back, all right, and they call it blue and red, and now you're just putting your running back out there and empty, and you can motion him in, all right, to see how the defense handles it. But now what you have is you're now creating a 4-man blocking surface to one side, but then you have trips on another. So now you're going to see how the defenses handle, that tight end wing. How are they going to handle, a trips over here? And now it's also an empty. All right, so now you have all these different checks, and it's one of the things that for what we try formation every week, try to add a new one in. We try to do something empty, and we try to do something unbalanced that they haven't planned for. So now if you're getting into like week 7 or 8, and if you're in a state like we have, our conference gets all of our games pretty much, and so now if they're seeing 7 different empties, 7 different unbalances, a heavy formation or different personnel, whether it's 13, 12, 21 personnel, now they're going to have to spend time with all those things. And if you can run your entire offense out of those and you're showing different things, that's a lot of stuff to break down. And now that's taking away time from them focusing on what your bread and butter is, and you can just dial up. So it's something that we try to do is to give them, it's the same thing when people run the swinging gate, is they're trying to find ways to be able to kind of throw some smoke and mirrors for the defense to prepare for, so you can get really good at your base stuff, get into, and then we can also motion our running back here, and now all of a sudden it's just it's a twins with a tight end and a wing, and now you can mess with it. Formation, we can go into the boundary, into the field, and one of the things that we love to do is running a lot of jet and jet buff, and now what we have here is you can do the same thing with the running back here. Now all of a sudden you motion him, and now he's coming in motion, and now you got double motions, and defenses aren't focused. Now all of a sudden you're going to be able to, get off to the edge, and to the perimeter. And so the other thing that you have to remember with these formations and doing this is formations are cheap. All right, a lot easier to install. So do whatever you are really good at. I like to pair with our RPOs, whatever our 1 or 2 best run plays are, and they get paid just like you do. They watch the same amount of film, all that good stuff. But remember that you're going up against 15, 18-year-olds that maybe they had a test earlier that day or their girlfriend broke up with them, whatever is going on. They're going to have to see all this formation, and they're going to have to remember all the things that their coach has taught to them, but we're also going to get on the ball and go fast. And like I said, have formations or have film for all of this. So those are a couple of things that we do. And then anybody that knows me knows that I love to do I love to do bunches and stacks. And so one of the things is, going some tight bunches. All right. And then we'll have either a nasty split, and that'll be just a normal receiver. And we'll do a couple of things with him where we can go with a tight end right here. And then, we'll widen it all the way out, see if they're willing to give us the box, all right, or they're going to worry about the bunch into the boundary or to the field. So I like to mess with that. And so now so here into the bunch. And then another thing that we'll do is we'll mess with people and we'll go stacks. We'll go trip stacks. So I like to do a lot of different things to present different ways. When we're at Northwind, and even this past year, we were getting into, almost 120, 130 different formations when it comes to a defensive coordinator, because he's lined up here or lined up there. That's two different ways. And now you mess with the splits of our X receiver, or if we bring in a tight end, there's a different formation because, you have a different personnel, different splits, and then you go bunch here, you can go stack here, a lot of different things, ways that you can dress it up. And like I said, we keep it simple, and we have one or two runs out of that. Let's talk formations. I went down a rabbit hole for 2 years of trying to figure out ways to get that edge on a defense. And so I've watched some things on your YouTube channel, listened to a lot of Kenny Simpson, and obviously listen a lot. And when Mike Leach was doing the ninja pirate formation, and just finding different ways to get an advantage and to make the defense have to play slower because they're thinking so much in paralysis by analysis. So those are a couple of things that we've done. And so now I'm going to just show you a little bit of film. Actually, I do have one more. Sorry. Whether you have a tight end, H-back, or if you want to use your running back, this is a empty formation and things that we like to do, which is super easy for us to line up because out in the slot, and then we'll move our H around. We'll move our H around either as a wing, all right, or as a sniffer type position. So now you got your empty, all right, but now you're also, if that's a tight end, now all of a sudden if the defense doesn't register that the running back's out there, to them, they might take this as there's no tight ends, there's no running backs, or they're just going with a tight end. And so now they're thinking, what are we going to do with that formation of having a sniffer or a wing? And they got to break it down. But for us, we can either motion that running back in, or we'll go jet with, lining him up as a sniffer or an H. And then one of those that I'm going to show is when we were playing for a conference title, we hadn't shown this formation. And they, and all the eyes were on our tight end. So they're thinking that we're going to try and do something with him. And we just did a fake jet and we ran a cue up. And then you can always obviously, you just got to make sure to be able to tag and tell everybody what they got is now you can put your tight end on the ball as well. And now you have a 3-man surface. I know you would as possibly a wing, but now a 3-man surface, hand the dirt. And your running back can either be a decoy or you can run stuff with that slot. And that's a bunch of different things coming out of it. And now all of a sudden you move him off the ball to the wing spot, or you put him at the sniffer spot where now he's on the hand in the dirt. Those are 3 different tags and different looks that really can mess with the defense. And then if you have a big running back, now all of a sudden you're, putting him as a quick Coach Bandstra about any of the formation diagrams or anything before we get into the film. From a couple of years ago, actually, let me get my entire screen. All right, so one of our first formations that that I wanted to show is right here. Get this out of the way. All right. So here we are. This is in our. We'll motion him out. He's supposed to start out there, and so this is our. We'll bring in our outside receiver, our tight end, and our receiver. All right, but we end up coming back to this formation. Our guard's kicking out, and now look at what our guard has. Our guard is going to be kicking out on either a corner or a safety roll down. And what we had him do was that he was coming to this outside backer, and we're going to have our tackle going down nose to the backer. But take a look, if you were to run to the side, look at how we had it set up. And it messes with them because they hadn't seen this formation on film yet. And as you could tell, if we would have ran it the right way, you look at what we had. I mean, he could pretty much walk off the line, and we were going to be able to be in a good spot. All right, so that's 2, 3, and then we have 4 and 5 out here. Really quick lineman, and now let a playmaker get the ball in his hands. So here we are lined up, and they don't even have anybody on the press. So now we're getting free releases. All right, and we had told them, okay, read on most dangerous man. So he's got press man, and then he's getting outside. And the reason why we want to get to the outside is because we have 1, 2 coming to help clean up, and then our running back. As you can tell, we had numbers out there. All right, and we had to just make, break 1 or 2 tackles. All right, so that's out of a stack and going to the boundary. I love doing formation into the boundary, and you'll see that looking at this. So here's our diamond. All right, and like I said, we will one-word call this. We'll sugar huddle it. So we are just like, hey, let's see what we got here. And this is our running back. All right, we'll just boom, get out there and make our blocks. So he's going to the out when we're lined up in diamond. So he's got most dangerous man outside. He's got the point man. He's got most dangerous inside. And we release our tackles. All right, and we have numbers out there. And once again, this was a new formation for the week. All right, and they hadn't seen that. And there we are off of a smoke screen. We got 20-something yards. All right, so here we are again. Same formation. All right, we run with our quarterback. We're taking a look. They take 2 over 1 because he had a big couple of weeks before. So now you got 2 over 1. All right, and then we end up coming back to this later in the game. But if you take a look, 1, 2, 3, we got 5 guys in the box. Okay, we go with the smoke screen. Well, sorry. He faked this a little bit too long. We went ugly. All right, because this was his first year being a quarterback. And so it was supposed to be just a look here. And then we have wrap around. All right, and now his QB draw, and he makes us look really good. All right, but they had, to try to take away the diamond and then our receiver. All right, and now here we are once again, getting into our diamond. Okay, and then we pump fake it. All right, and then we hit our fade down the sideline because we had got him twice. And so now throw is right here. And we had seen that they got that safety high. So we were like, hey, you got a nice little window here. And we get fade. All right, ball could have been a lot better. All right, but this is what you're going to get out of these formations is if they think that you're just going to throw quick screens, it allows you to boom. And there you go on a nice little pop, little pop or, a little screen and go. And our tight end and wing. And now you see the end. Okay, he took it like a draw, like he was supposed to. All right, and now take a look. We got a nice little Q buck. Sorry for it being from a mile away. That's where it was up on our press box. But you can see now you got 3. I mean, you got a guy 5 yards, 6 or 7, then 10. We end up coming back and throwing a smoke screen out here because we trusted that relationship. That's all right. And we also ran stick here. But it's one of those things of once you get that formation, we like to try and put in our first 10 or 15 or our P and 10, and we get to really study that formation and how they're going to line up to it. Now, what are plays that you? Okay, so here we go, coming back to it. And, and I know people might, how is the defense, how they're aligned? Look, sorry, I'm not going against Nick Saban at times, and I'm going against teenagers, and I'm just going against what coverages, what defensive fronts, what they're giving us, and trying to find a way for our team to win. So, yeah, there might be some misalignments, but you're going to get that a lot out of these funky, unique formations, going unbalanced and going empty. All right, so here we are again. We come back to this formation. Oh, sorry. That was one that took a little bit of time to get going. All right, so here we are now. Okay, we had thrown stick. We had run the quarterback towards the tight end and wing. And one thing that we saw was, all right, that we had numbers on this side. All right, as you tell, 1, 2, and 3. So 4, 5. So now on this side, we only have 2 guys we got to worry about, and we got 2 blockers plus we're running buck. So now we got 2 pullers scoring a touchdown. All right, so it's just with these formations, finding ways to outflank the defense, all right, and then also trying to get your playmaker involved. So now off of this, now we're running a fake jet, all right, out of that same formation, and now we're running quarterback run game. And we're running QGT. Sorry, let me make sure that we see that from the beginning. Sorry about that. So here we go. Now we're window dressing off of that. We've been running to the tight end wing side. We have thrown the ball. Now we're faking that jet, and now we're going quarterback weak and running QGT. And now we got numbers, and we get a nice little run for our quarterback. All right. And now here's the formation I was talking about out of empty. Out of empty, and now with our tight end, we have some really good matchups. They're playing us in a cover 4. Respecting the fact that we have some really good lengthy receivers. All right. And so now we come back to this, and we actually run some arrow stuff, run some smoke screens. If anybody's watched my YouTube channel, we love throwing screens as part of the air raid, just find ways to get touches. And with this amount of yards separation, we like that. Okay, so here we are, fake with the jet and running Q buck. Okay, and so then, but I'll tell you, the problem with this is right there. You just saw, and I'll tell you, it was just like in Forrest Gump when he got shot in the butt, man. Our quarterback just went down. He was having like one of the top seasons who had been running in the Olympic State. So we faked that because they had seen us do a lot of fake or a lot of jets. All right. And so we set up with a little fake jet. They go with it. Okay. And now we're off to the races running buck. Get some good blocks. And then right here, our game plan kind of went down because we were going to stay in this formation the entire game until they made an adjustment. We had seen somebody that they had played, when they were going empty, they were going cover 4, given plenty of space. So we're going to go a lot of quick game, a lot of quarterback run game, motion running back in there because we had them where we wanted them. We wanted to be able to throw hitches, speed outs, stick, and then have a lot of – I'll show you some of the stuff that we did this year. Okay, so here we are coming out, and this box set that we were talking about, that instead of going empty, now you're going kind of unbalanced. This is the first play of the game. We get out there, sugar huddle, get everybody set, good to go, and we throw it out there. And now we're going. Okay, get a little smoke screen, and now the first play from scrimmage, and you get 11 yards. Okay. And then you'll see we stay in unbalanced. So now here we are, okay, with this is one that will go with 2 guys on the ball here. So now you're 3 by 1, but he's off. Here we are running jet buck. Okay, unbalanced. If he was patient, a little bit more patient. Okay, and now here we are. I think we got like 8 yards on this. All right, and we got our guy, 2 different guys, the ball in space. All right, and now let me think. I got one more, I think, out of this. And then another one that we like to go stack. All right, and now here's another way that we get our tunnel out of it, or smoke screen out of it, sorry. And now we have our H back here, okay? And now so I like to do a lot of stacks, and we're just doing a little quick screen, and we got our number advantage. And there we go. Okay, so that's enough for that one. Coach Bandstra, am I good on time? How much time I got?
Technically 9 minutes, but I mean, you're good, Coach.
Okay. Well, I mean, I got plenty of things, and then I'll take any questions that anybody has.
Given your personnel and everything.
Yeah. So one of the things, sorry, I'm trying to get to the next one. One of the things that we do is a lot of our empty stuff is we just say empty, and then whatever the formation is, running back has this rule that he goes opposite. So that's super easy to get into. But we do our diamond and our box are 4 by 0, and then unbalanced, and then 4 by 1 out of that. We do that. That is one of the things that it's one of our first. When we get everybody there, we know what we got in the summer. It's one of the first things that we put in because it's one of our one-word calls. And so we'll carry that in. We carry in our empty. So some of that is our first learning how to get to things and what our one-word calls are going to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Because I just again, that's been one of my biggest questions today is as people talk about things like, okay, when you put that in, what order? I mean, that's kind of my stuff. And like I said, kind of like you mentioned, formations are cheap. So yeah, you got about 8 or 9 more minutes, Coach. So go ahead.
Cool. kind of going into that is like, so big onto like install is we teach our concept. We go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday throughout all the way until our season starts. We're running the same thing on Monday in our run game, our quick game, and our screen, or in our drop back. We have one quick game, one drop back, one run, and one screen. And then what we start doing is when we first go, we start off with a 3x1 and a 2x2, and then we have our one empty, which the running back knows that he's opposite. Empty, trips right. Well, now all of a sudden he just has to go to the slot to the left. And now there we are in our empty 3x2. And then if we want to get into quads, we'll say quads, trips right. He knows that he now goes and he's the most inner slot in that quid, in the quads. And then our rule for bunches and stacks is if we want to go with a bunch, we don't really usually have a running back in that. So he knows that, hey, if it's bunch, I'm going to go off the ball. And so it almost sometimes we'll tell him line up as a running back and then to get out there and he's off the ball so that he can also motion back to the backfield to try and, do a home motion for our running back, getting back and trying to show them just like a bunch formation. So he knows that he is always off the ball in all of our quads and empty stuff so that we can motion him back. So that's some of our rules and our terminology. And then 3 or 4, like I said, we have box and we have like cluster, and then we can bring tags in, whether it's tight, wide. And then we have our language. We use it like with baseball terms of how many guys inside from balance, and they'll know who that is because our H is kind of our. And I got this from Coach Wingett, and one of the first people that talk about like Lincoln Ryan Lee and the power rate kind of branch off, and he's kind of our adjuster, and so he's the guy that we can tag with our wing or sniffer or whatever. So he knows that he's not on the ball because we want to move him around to either set up a run play or still be able to get him the ball because we put usually one of our top playmakers there at H because that's the reason why he's a hybrid. We don't want him to come off the field. And so we teach our language and our lingo that type of way, our terminology, and we use those formations to kind of build it up, if that makes even more sense. And one of the things that we'll do, like I said, is this, and now here we are doing our flash fake, and we actually do come back and we'll show you this is we realize that they didn't line up right, and we have this all day long, and we're running our quarterback, and watch this, if he stays his lane, we probably get a lot bigger, but he tries to take it outside because he's a 5'6", 150 maybe, wet out of the shower. So he takes it outside and trips over our lineman, where if you take a look, we have numbers in the box. All right. And then we have our running back actually lead as well. So the fake, instead of doing a bash look or having the running back fake, our fake that we use is kind of like a draw. So now you have GT and you have your running back as a lead blocker. And I think we have pretty good numbers here if he was patient a little bit. But I understand being the smaller guy, or the biggest thing for us is this is our first drive. And we're getting a bunch of different information for later in the game. All right. So here we are, same formation. Okay, now we're trying to see how they handle with motion out of it. Okay, and we're running our power read. Okay, and for him, one of our things was we kind of wanted to hand it off to him, and we had our guard get there and trying to set up a false pull, and we get to the edge. All right, and now here we are. We're set up in like 3rd and short here. All right, so now we kind of see what we're getting. We stay in this package. Is one of the things is if I like it, we'll keep rolling with it. Like I said, we have 3, 4, 5 different things that we can do with it, and I like what we're getting out of this 4x0 look in our box. And you can see that we still have yet. We're going to set this up and now to mess. So now we've done a bunch of different ways of how they've lined up, and now what we're trying to do is this was our guy right here that we wanted to get the ball to. So we've ran GT, we ran quarterback. GT, we've done motion. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fake GT with this, and we're going to run arrow for an explosive touchdown. So here we are, fake it, get out of there, and now there's our GT arrow, GT slip, one of the top RPOs right now going on. And that's all just out of our unbalanced stuff, trying to steal yards. So out of that, 6, 7 plays, we stayed in our unbalanced once we got our first down because we saw that we wanted to hit a reverse really early into the game. So that was our second play of the game. And then you see in 4 plays going unbalanced, we're able to score a touchdown, using our playmakers out in space and using different formations. Anything else, Coach? Quick.
Well, coaches, if you don't, just one, give Coach a follow on social media. Also, check out his YouTube channel. There's a bunch of power rate stuff and culture, and I mean, it's really expanded since I think last year, right, Coach? I don't even know how many videos you're at, but like I said, we retweet and tweet and watch each other's stuff, and like I said, I know you've put out some more stuff, not just power rate lately. So it kind of has expanded for you.
Yeah, please. It's Coach Mitch Johnson on YouTube. I put out things about the run game, pass game within the power rate, but I've also been, one of my most successful ones had nothing to do with scheme. Like I said, I'm very humble and I'm very open. We all make mistakes. So this last video I just did was talking about some, 3 things that are mistakes and don't do when it comes to install, because I know a lot of people are getting into spring. To be a better coach, I think you need to have one of those seasons. It makes you really figure out that it is about Jimmy's and Joe's, and don't put a round peg in a square hole, and it will humble you really quick. And that's one of the things it made us take a look at some of the things that didn't go right, and I try to help as much as I possibly can. We don't make these mistakes, because I just want people to not have to make those same mistakes. Trying to give, like I said to the kids every day, I'm trying to give you the answers to the tests and for you to be successful from my mistakes and my downfalls, which I'm not scared of, admitting, because I know I'm not perfect, and I just want to help out. And like I said, anytime I talk to anybody, I just want to be able to give back and give one piece of nugget of knowledge or something to help somebody, because that means that I did my job of passing along. Like I said, none of this is revolutionary, none of this is groundbreaking. I've talked to people.
No excuse.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you, Coach.